Ladies and gents, and welcome to CG Reaction, and this is Plant Diseases by the channel SamONella Academy. Yes, like always, another Sam video. Plant diseases. Well, the only thing I can think of is, blight, I guess, because it has killed society's civilizations. It's so fucked up. I thought blight is, when I was a kid, I always thought blight is just a term people use when for some reason, crops dies. But no, it's some kind of a, fungal disease. So basically it insects and lots of other animals just bring this fungals and lots of other type of organisms on the plants and on the farms. And whenever I guess winter or something comes, monsoon comes, when there is basically whenever it gets wet, then it reproduces. So basically this mostly happens when area is wet. It doesn't happen in the area where there is mostly dry. I mean, obviously plants and things is going to be wet, but the places that there are more wetter than other, blight is more dangerous. So I know about this because obviously everybody hears about blight, how it kills civilization. People literally moves from one place to another just to get away from it. So yeah, I don't know which this is gonna cover here, but since I have much of no knowledge about this, is going to be fun. Sam always makes great videos, always fun, and always takes the events that nobody knows about and just gives his take on it. It's just funny. I've reacted to quite a few already SamONella videos, so check it out. I created a playlist for it. Check out the cards, check out the end cards, check out my other reactions that I did. There's a link in the description for all of my videos. And yeah, if you like my reaction and if you want to support this channel, like and subscribe. And yeah, let's watch this video.
Hey kids, remember the plague, malaria, smallpox? Kinda bad, right? Well, guess what? They're peanuts compared to the level of destruction that's been wreaked over the years across the kingdom next door. Today, I'm gonna talk—
Why is it more gross whenever somebody uses bad graphics, bad artwork, and yet still puts in enough detail to make it gross? It's always gross like that. Internet history videos has the same thing. Even their graphics are worse, but whenever they put more detail with the worse graphics, it's even more gross.
Talk about some of the most interesting diseases to ever strike the world of plants. The most famous one is probably the potato blight. It's a fungus that attacks potatoes. This is what it looks like. On the left we have a healthy potato, while on the right we have a blighty one. Notice how this one is noble and robust, like a lion's heart, while the other is shriveled and black, like Betsy DeVos's uterus. You could try to eat it, but it's basically like—
Betsy DeVos, isn't that Education Secretary of USA? Why? Because he's pro-life, is that why?
rotting cork. You wouldn't get very far. So in 1845, Ireland relied a lot on potatoes, right? That's because their soil was dumb and that's the most nutritious thing they could grow. Then the blight came and all their food turned to poo. 1 million starved, 2 million left. They came to America. They brought freckles and these things. Hoity-toity-toy. Now we have the Celtics. Next is the chestnut
Yeah, Conan always makes this joke. Why potato? Because I'm Irish?
blight, which infects, you guessed it, the elderly. Wait, no, that's shingles. Chestnut blight infects American chestnut trees, which once populated a huge portion of the South and Mid-Atlantic regions of the country. Key word: once. During the early 20th century, the blight arrived, which ended up killing around 4 billion trees over the course of a couple decades. Hey, remember that time 4 billion giant things died inexplicably? Me neither. Nobody does. Let me give some perspective on the situation. Those trees were huge, like 40 meters tall apiece. That means 160 million kilometers of tree was destroyed by this disease. That's long enough to get from the earth to the sun with 10 million kilometers to spare. Here's another. If we take the volume of all these trees, we get 126 billion cubic meters.
That's a lot of trees. Holy shit. I mean, that is ridiculous amount of trees. With that length and that many trees. I mean, obviously, saves the trees nowadays, saying because of global warming, obviously. Imagine if these trees were still there. I mean, global warming, obviously, it's not going to get solved just because of it. But, lots of things, would have been better obviously in USA, since these trees are USA. Obviously, world would benefit too. But, the global warming would not be so intense there, since, carbon dioxide would go down compared to today. Because that's a lot of trees. People like, that's a drop in the bucket, but it's really not. That's a lot of trees.
If we burn that much wood, we get 861 quadrillion
damn.
joules of energy. That's the amount released by the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Times 10,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a big deal. But who cares, right? Why worry about 4 billion
I'm like, that's the energy from Hiroshima bomb. I'm like, that's not right. That's way too much energy. 10,000. So yeah, okay.
dumb smelly old trees when there's 1,000 whole pandas that need our help? Isn't that right, WWF? You populist scum. Anyway, moving on. This next one is called, get ready, broom rape. I'm serious. Broom rape. Broom rape. Wikipedia, broom rape. Naked broom rape. Imagine if we gave human illnesses names like that.
Hold up.
Wikipedia, broom.
Broom, dash rape. So it's not even just a just play on words. It literally means broom rape. Oh, that's
Rape. Naked broom rape. Imagine if we gave human illnesses names like that. I'm sorry, Sam, but you have urethra cactus. I would just end it right there.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter what the actual symptoms are. Anyway, broom rape is considered a parasitic plant. This is what it does.
Yeah, I know about this. Alright, I'm gonna say it before watching this. Since I'm wrong, I'll know. This basically is just type of thing that just latches onto the other trees and sucks the energy out of them. So if there are more of this around, the crops dies. I know this because I've heard in some kind of farms, even in here, about this. So I think it's that. If I'm wrong, let's see.
The seeds of the broom rape will hang out in the soil for years until the roots of a host plant come along. When they do, the broom rape bursts out of its shell and immediately starts leaching off the other organism. Eventually, once they grow enough, they'll breach the surface with these little flowers. Notice, no leaves, no green. Who needs chlorophyll when you're a filthy freeloader, right? These flowers get fertilized and the whole thing starts over. Just one of these guys isn't a big deal to the host. But once you get enough, they have the potential to suck an entire farm dry, causing sweeping crop failure. Pun definitely intended.
So basically, whenever there's monsoon and somehow you notice around your crops things like this kind of things, you basically get panicked, like, whoa, I have to do something about this, otherwise all the crops is gonna die.
Next is this one. There's a few different ways you can pronounce it depending on your social standing, ranging from ergit to elgo. Being the disheveled pauper I am, I prefer ergit. Rolls off the tongue, Ergit is a fungus.
I don't understand this about Americans and even Englishmen. Basically they kind of say distastefully, disdain that French people basically surrendered during the World War II, so they are not so good. They are basically cheese it in surrender monkey or whatever the saying goes. And at the same times they go like whenever there's a French language, it's somehow more more luxurious. I don't know how to say this. More it signifies a person is somehow better than any average. You speaking French. I mean, I don't get it. Your fascination with French language is like French language is really good, and at the same time you left French. Those damn French, they gave up during the World War II. There's two feelings going there.
That mainly infects grains like wheat, barley, and especially rye. And it's capable of producing a whole soup of compounds called alkaloids, which can have a variety of effects on the human body. Most of them not fun, mostly spasms and diarrhea, that kind of thing. However, one particular alkaloid called ergitamine structurally resembles LSD and has a similar function when it enters the body. So a medieval peasant would be sitting there, eating a nice loaf of rye bread, just minding his own business. Then all of a sudden, holy shit, I'm blasting out of both ends! My heart's a seizing, my lungs a wheezing, the fucking walls are melting, I can hear Satan's voice, he's telling me to invest in Apple. What does that mean? Why does he want me to buy apples? This would go on for like a day. Sometimes their fingers and toes would fall off, but then they'd be alright. Unless they weren't. Moral of the story, kids, don't eat strange bread.
So, bad side of LSD, not the good side apparently.
You could trip balls and die. One more thing before we end today's video, I've decided to launch a second channel for all the dumb stuff I think of that doesn't fit the Academy format.
What?
It's called SamONella Vlog. Go check it out. It's in the description. I wrote a slam poem. It's there. Go look. Anyway, that's all for today. Till next time, I'm SamONella, and thank you for watching.
So yeah, I knew about that, the plant thing that sucks things from the other trees. I mean, that's just effed up. When I was a kid, I was really fascinated, like, damn, I didn't know about that, something like that even exists. So people always see things like that and they get scared, like, whoa, hell no, the crops are gonna die. And these are the things that actually sucks in from the other trees and things. And it's weird. the seed just sits there on the ground until some other tree or some roots come along, and then they suddenly burst out. It's like they can feel the presence or something. I don't know much about science behind these trees and how it all works, but it's always fascinating, man. This was a good video, like I always knew, and obviously about plant thing. Ireland had lots of plant, potato plants. Obviously, that's the most their major, I guess. Produce is potatoes. Every time Conan makes a joke about potatoes, so I know that. I didn't know that they left Ireland and came to USA because there was something blight like that. All their potato crops died, so they came to the USA. I didn't know that. So now you have Celtics apparently. This was a good video. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you next time.